Governor Glenn Youngkin visited South Dakota on Wednesday to support Governor Kristi Noem on the campaign trail. Noem, who is currently running for re-election, is a rising star in the Republican Party. She has consistently upheld her Democratic challenger, Jamie Smith, though recent surveys show a far closer race than expected. In advance of the midterms, Virginia's governor has visited several candidates across the U.S., bolstering his national brand and what some see as a potential groundwork to a long-shot 2024 presidential bid. Noem herself has been seen as a possible presidential or vice presidential contender in the 2024 election.
South Dakota.
That is amazing. Thank you. I have a few. Yeah. I have my wife's a text. Yeah. Governor, thank you. Folks, you got to get her reelected. You got to get her reelected. Hello, South Dakota. Can you feel it? Can you feel the spirit? Because what's happening right now, and you all feeling it, is the spirit of South Dakota is alive. It's alive. You know, when I was flying here, I was thinking about all the things that make South Dakota so great. By the way, it's a long list, but your motto is unbelievable. Under God, the people rule. Could there be a more clear statement of our priorities? First, there's the Almighty. And every day we have to say thank you. I have to say that I've been in my job here for about 10 months, and every morning I walk out front of this amazing home I get to live in, and I see our Capitol. And by the way, our Capitol was designed by this man named Thomas Jefferson. And I stop at the bottom of the stairs of this amazing home that my wife and I and our youngest son live in. And I stop and I say, thank you, Lord. Thank you for putting me in this position. Thank you for blessing me to serve. And now, Lord, I need help. Because this is a big job. I have 8.6 million bosses. And I hear from them all most every day. But can you better pick a motto than under God? And then the people rule. Because that's what South Dakota is all about. South Dakota is all about having a governor who understands that you don't work for her, she works for you. And that's what she does. And that is the spirit of South Dakota. Understanding that it's a government that is of the people, by the people, for the people. That's the spirit of Virginia. That's the spirit of America. And right now, the left liberal progressives are trying to stamp that out. That's what they're trying to do. And I can tell you it happens like that. In my beloved Virginia, it happened fast. I'm going to let you go on a little walk with me back in time. Just about 3 years ago, the pandemic was getting started. And Virginia was locked tight, shut down, closed down, stay home, don't go out, don't see your neighbors, don't go to work, don't go to school. Locked down tight. You all don't know what that feels like. But you have a governor who stood up for your freedoms and your rights. In Virginia, we had law enforcement that was demeaned and demoralized. And in fact, we had a criminal first, victim last approach to things. You didn't have it, but you have a governor that understands you must back the blue. That's what she knows. In Virginia, we had taxes that were driving up the cost of living to such an extraordinary extent. We had a government that thought it was their money as opposed to your money. By the way, you guys don't have personal income taxes. All across our schools, our parents and kids were told that watching a 12-inch screen dream every day was a quality education. Parents were told that we're going to teach your children how to think, not what to think. Friends, at the end of the day, they were teaching them what to think as opposed to how to think. Transparency was real, and what parents saw what was going on in the classroom, and parents then put their hands up and said, I'm supposed to have a role here. And then they were told, parents have no role in their child's education. That was Virginia. Friends, then they said, no Republican can win in Virginia. Joe Biden won by 10 points. The suburbs are too blue, the media is too strong. They forgot to do one thing, ask the voters. That's what they forgot to do. And guess what? Today, right now, November the 2nd, marks the anniversary of the day when Virginians came together and said, enough. We have had enough. The Latino community said we've had enough. We won the Latino vote. The Asian community said we've had enough. We won the Asian vote. Huge numbers of the black community said we've had enough. More votes for the black community than anybody can remember for a Republican. We won parts of Virginia that Republicans have never won before because it was no longer Republicans against Democrats. It was Virginians standing up for the values that we hold dear, those values that breathe life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness into America. No, Virginia was not blue, and on November 2nd last year, Virginia stood up and said, we are red. That's what happened. Why am I telling you this? Because elections have consequences. They have consequences. And here you are running in for your last 6 days right now. Elections have consequences. And for South Dakota, the consequences will be dire if you do not re-elect Kristi Noem to be your governor. It's that serious. It's that serious. Come on. Let's just look at this. The decision's easy. All right, you got Jamie on one side, and you got the governor on the other. Who do you trust to stand up for the blue? The governor. Who do you trust to keep your taxes zero? The governor. Who do you trust to make sure that when there's a decision to be made about whether you can go to work or not, the governor? Who do you trust your children to in school so that they will be taught how to think and not what to think? The governor. Who do you trust to make sure that as parents you will have an unfettered role at the head of the table in your child's education? The governor. So why are we talking about this? Because elections have consequences. And I watched in Virginia think like that. They tried to turn Virginia into California. They did it so fast that they tied our emissions and car purchase laws to those in California. And now they got to go back and undo it all. Friends, it happens like that. You have a governor who understands that when decisions need to be made about your life, you make them. You have a governor that understands that it's your money, not government's. You have a governor that understands that you must back the blue in order to keep crime down because they deserve it. They run 2 emergencies when you run away. You have a governor that understands that economic growth lifts up all people. You have a governor that understands that she works for you. This is not hard. And it's time to go get it done because this is all about freedom and liberty. It's about freedom and liberty. And as I said, the left liberal progressives are trying to stamp it out. Because, of course, they know better. Listen, in Virginia, we know a little bit about freedom and liberty. Just a little bit. You know, the greatest words written in this hemisphere, were written by a Virginian, and you know them. We hold these truths to be self-evident. That all men are created equal. And that they're endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. And among those are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Friends, these are not rights that are handed down to us by a king or by elites in Washington or Pierre or in Richmond. These are rights that are handed to us, given to us by an almighty creator. That's why we have to stand up and defend them. And friends, if we do not lock arms and make sure that we are electing Kristi Noem back to her office as governor, those rights can be taken away. Because elections have consequences. Now, you all know how to win elections because you've done it before. But now it's time to do the work. You got a sprint in front of you. Listen, this is like a NASCAR race. Sorry, I like NASCAR. This is like a NASCAR race. But we're the only state that have four NASCAR races during any given year. We have 4 more next year. You're welcome to come visit. But it's like a NASCAR race because here we go. We got Jamie kind of puttering around the outside, and Kristi's just taking off. Guess what? We got to make sure she gets over the finish line because elections have consequences. So it's time to go to work. And you know the work. You know, last year in Virginia, we had 5,000 people volunteer at the polls. Election officials, election observers, people handing out sample ballots. We had more red signs around Virginia than anybody could remember. We had more volunteers than anybody could remember. That's what it takes. So it's going to take everybody in this room to win. She can't win it by herself. You've got to do the work. And here's the work. Each one of you has got to go find 10 friends. Write down the name. 10 of them. By the way, there can't be 10 people here. And they got to people who are going to vote the right way. And I want you to write down their names. And then I want you to call them. And I'll say, hey, have you voted? Go vote tomorrow. And they'll say, sure, I'll go vote tomorrow. And then tomorrow night, call them back. Billy, did you vote? No, I got busy. Billy, I'm coming to pick you up in my car tomorrow, and I'm taking you to the poll. You've got to get the vote out. This is how we win. Every corner should have a sign. Every hat should have a head. Every head should have a hat. Every bumper should have a sticker. And every chest should have a t-shirt that says parents matter. Kristi Noem's going to watch after my kids. And oh, by the way, you might as well all go ahead and put on a red vest. Come on, Kristi, I got something for you. Because the winning team is the winning team. With Kristi as your governor, she gets to make decisions to keep schools open, to keep businesses open, to back the blue, to make sure that parents have a head seat at the table for your children. And therefore, we got to make sure that the team wins. And we are on the right team. Listen, we're on the team that believes in strong families. We're on the team that believes in safe neighborhoods. We're on the team that believes in low taxes, small business, and American-made products. We're on the team. We're on the team that believes that there is peace through strength, not weakness through weakness. We're a team that understands that this facility celebrates our military, our veterans, and that freedom is not free. That's what we understand. We're on the team that understands that this is about liberty and freedom and the unbridled opportunities that lift up all Americans, everybody in South Dakota, everybody in Virginia, everybody across the nation, when that liberty and freedom is let loose. We're on the team that understands that our children deserve to be taught how to think, not what to think, that our children deserve to understand that their parents are front of center in their lives. We're on the team that understands, yes, parents matter. Friends, this is the team. And that's the team we're all on. And we've got to go get the work done. Because I will tell you, you have an awesome governor. And it's time to re-elect him. It's time to re-elect him. So feel the spirit of South Dakota. This spirit of being under God. This spirit of the people ruling. This spirit that binds you together with Virginians, with Americans. This unbridled understanding that it's about freedom and liberty, that it's about doubling down on our commitment to family and faith. It's about doubling down on the recognition that this is the greatest country ever. And we have to go to work for her. That's what we have to do. And so, friends, here we have the spring. It's time to put the seatbelt on, lace up the shoes, or slip on the boots. And it is time to go to work and make sure that Kristi Noem is your next governor, that in fact Jamie Smith gets nowhere near that governor's office, and South Dakota